running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans. Welcome to Talking Nobles. How is everybody doing out there on this Monday? What is it? May 11th, 2026, episode number 191. Hyatt, why does it feel like the outdoor season is already almost over? Like it's insane how quick the
It
outdoor
is sectionals week, baby. It is right here, man. It's crazy because, like now we're at the point where all of our young kids are pretty much done for the year, and you're just focusing on the older kids. It's game time.
I feel like indoor just ended. I really do. I feel like indoor had just like the indoor season in the Northeast is.
It feels
ridiculous.
like it's 3 times as long as the spring season.
It is crazy. But with that being said, how's everybody doing out there? Wherever you're watching from, we appreciate it. Whether it is YouTube, Facebook, X, Twitch, or Kick. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And make sure you smash that like button wherever you are. So last week, we got to talk to the legend himself, Coach Carl Torchia, over from CBA. We always enjoy talking to our CBA coaches. We have to have the rest of their coaches on at some point, but
Sure.
Coach Torchia is awesome. We had a really good show picking his brain about his philosophy and things like that. And again, every time we are fortunate that we have the best coaches that want to come on our show.
Yes.
Because it teaches me a ton about just why they're successful.
Sure.
And I know from you, Dave, you get to bite a little bit off of other people and become better in your own craft.
I'm constantly taking from this coach and taking from that coach. And I think that's how, as coaches, how we all get better. You know, I mean, obviously we all want to beat each other and do that. But a lot of us, we're all, I have fun when I go to a meet, just talking to the coaches. I look forward to seeing who's there. I mean, it's at the point now where the other day I was looking around. I'm like, wow, so many of these people have been on our show. It's crazy.
And and it's such a different generation because we talked about how back in the day with your coach, with Coach O'Leary, he wouldn't go on a podcast because he's not talking about how he trains. Everyone else can kick rocks. No one needs to know how we train.
We couldn't talk to any other kids on any other team.
That's where now it's so different where coaches are happy to come on these shows, highlight their programs, share their knowledge. It's a different world and it's a good world and it's a world that gives us a damn show. So that makes me really happy. So
would have been hard for us in the 80s and the 90s having a show because everyone was tight-lipped. So
I mean, but ESPN did have some really good meets every single weekend. They had a meet on every Saturday morning. They were showing the meet from Friday night. It's insane. Anyway, so let's get into this week's show. We are excited because this is a gentleman that, if I don't know if people remember, a few episodes back, he jumped in our chat. He was awesome in there. And he was flat out like, hey, let me come on. And we're just like, sure, you're a coach. Let's do it. So let's bring him in. He is Coach Austin Willis. If he comes, there we go. Thank you, Restream. He is Austin Willis. He is assistant coach over at Montclair High School and coach and founder of ONTHEMARK Track and Performance Group. What's going on, Coach?
How we doing, guys? Thank you for having me.
Of course.
I appreciate you coming on once again. We're excited. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I love that you jumped in the chat and was like, hey, this is what my athlete's doing. I'd love to come on because we wouldn't have some of the guests that we have unless they reached out to us.
Sure. And
it's usually the ones that reach out to us that end up making some of the friggin' best shows. So thank you very much for reaching out.
No problem. I mean, like I said earlier, I love track and field, so I'm always down to talk about it. And you can ask Jim Lambert or any of them. I am very vocal on Twitter when it comes to the field events not getting love, especially if it's my athlete.
So I will give Lambert some credit though. When we have him on, he always goes out of his way to talk about the throwers and jumpers and stuff. Like we have him. I don't know if you've seen any of our gym episodes. I think he enjoys it because we get to stretch his track and field muscle in his brain because we force him to give us the rundown, tell us about athletes that surprised him, go over every event from boys and girls, and then give us predictions. He is on record on here, I think, more doing predictions and stuff here than any of his articles.
Oh no, Jim is amazing. He's great. It's a good relationship. It's always love.
So,
but I do love to bust their chaps online sometimes.
So I'm going to take it that you are not a fan of Grand Slam track without any field events.
No, I mean, I knew it was gonna fail. It is what it is.
So
I said it right.
I was
very lofty.
I was optimistic, but looking back, it was foolish.
I think the intention of what I was trying to do could have been really good, but I do think number one, diversifying the sport like that it's hard. I mean, it's hard. I get why people don't understand the field events, but we have to find a better way to storytell.
You got to do it in layman's terms. You got to be like, hey,
it's not so much layman's terms, but it's just like the nature of, especially like any of the top jumpers. Like I remember Christian Taylor and Will Clay going at it in Florida, and it's just like it was so entertaining because at any moment one could take the lead, and next thing you know, he's jumping another one, take the lead in the 6th round.
I think.
But there has to be a level of storytelling and just...
Yes, there has to be more general knowledge, and that they have to break it down in ways that the average person can understand.
Right. On top of that, a big thing with the field events, too, is like you said, you have athletes jumping in and they take a minute, right? Where a person will make a jump, they'll make a throw, and then the other individual's walking up. They have their ritual. Now we're waiting another minute, right? And viewers will get bored. They do. Like, we're very fickle. So I feel like if we want to include them, we need, and this will be hard with the way tracks are configured, but it needs to be pretty rapid fire. Okay, if we're doing it on TV, one jumper goes, automatically another jumper's already getting ready, about to go. And just trying to feed people so that it's a 20-second gap.
Well, I think that's what like, if we go back to like the new initiatives, like Athos, I think that's what they did is such a good storytelling aspect of the long jump is because they put it front and center in front of the stage. So number one, you're already getting people involved because they're seeing it, but they made it to where there was no other running event going on. So a lot of the times those breaks happen, kills it because they hold a jumper up on the runner. So like a jumper might be ready to go, and they're like, "Oh, the 400 is going to start. We're going to wait. We're going to wait here till they go, and then someone false starts or this or that." So that now the athlete's waiting 5 minutes to go.
Not only that, like I love what Athos did with the bringing Tara last year in Times Square, jumping in front of everyone. Like we need more.
And the fact that she delivered. If she didn't deliver, it would have been. But she delivered like she always does.
But I mean, the jumping events to me can be very friendly to the casual because we all run, we all jump. So to me, it's easier to maybe comprehend for the layman than a 10,000 meter. You know, with like pacing and everything.
It's also just visually easy to understand because it's like. Sometimes you can't fathom how fast someone is actually going, especially because speed is so skewed now. Especially with track fiction, you're seeing these kids and athletes deliver such fast times, and there's no juxtaposition to it. Whereas like you see someone jump far, it's like, oh no, that's far as fuck.
Yeah. And when you're watching pros do it too, like any other sport, they make it look easy. So it's like, but it's like with the running events, especially. You're watching a 5K and it's like, oh, they're jogging. And then it's like, if you know, it's like, no, they're running 4:45, 4:30, 4:20 pace. Like they are not jogging. They are flying around the track, but they are just moving so smooth. They make it look easy. And I think it's all relative, right? Because if you're watching a bunch of pro long jumpers, they're all jumping 24, right? So everyone's looking at it going, okay, 24 is not there. You need that person to jump 25, whatever, you know, a big jump to separate. And I think we need to do a better job with the minutia of the sport because you watch football, you watch basketball, people understand the minutia side. Not every throw or run's going to be a touchdown. Not every 3-point shot's going to go in, and we accept that, right? Where a foul is confusing if you don't know the sport. Like, why did that jump not count? What is going on here? Like, we're not good enough at explaining the minutia of the sport. And I think that's where this show's going to come in.
We can get it down to it. We're not good enough at running our own meets at the high school level. So I'm like, how do we?
Like, well, we also have a real shortage of officials. You've had Mike Mooney on the show before, and that's a big part of it. No young people want to officiate.
Yes, well, the average age is probably 70.
I'm probably in the worst county in New Jersey. Essex County is like our officials are all super old, so that has its own complication. But also, Essex County, it doesn't pay the officials on time, so most officials don't want to come to Essex County.
That sucks.
So it's rough. So it's like, and luckily I'm getting a good relationship with some of the officials, so they give me the insights, and I'm just like one time we had to host a meeting, they're like, oh, we haven't got our checks from 2 months ago. I was like, I ain't got nothing to do with me. I can't help you.
Yeah, my kids still have to compete. Like, what do you want me to tell them?
So it's definitely challenging.
I mean, yeah, and that's a big push. I think we have to start being a little bit more vocal about that on Talking in Ovals. Is if you're a young athlete and if you don't want to go and compete next level tracks, so you love track in high school, but it's not my goal to go next level. Maybe you're not going to college, or you are and you want to do something. Please go become an official.
Well, I think it's also just tough too. It's just like, unless you really love the sport, especially as like an official, right? So it's like
you don't want to be there for like 10 hours on a Saturday.
Exactly. Whereas like you see these young soccer kids, they might do travel soccer. They'll ref on the side because the game is only 45 minutes long.
Correct.
They do 2 games, they're making a little bit of pocket money, but then they have their whole day. Track like, nah, I'm going there for.
And I don't, and I mean, I don't know what they get paid, but it can't be worthy of being there for 10 hours.
No, probably not.
I will give this pitch to that kid, though. There are no parents screaming at you like at that kid's soccer game or that baseball game. So there is that
There
value.
are coaches, though. There are coaches, though.
There are coaches, but at the same time, it's not as bad. It's not as bad. Listen, I coach my daughter's soccer teams. My parents know to stay in line, but there are some that they think that their 7-year-old is already going to go and become the next big thing. Messi. And it's like, man, they're in wreck. Leave it alone. Like, relax. But so I want to jump to you. We're going to start talking about you, because the one question we ask all of our guests from the jump is, what was the spark that made you want to become a runner, a jumper? Not necessarily when you started it, but what made you want to focus and make that your sport?
My mom, actually. So my mom went to James Logan in Union City, California, which is historically was dominant in the 90s, early 2000s, even pretty good into when I was in high school in the 2010s. So my mom kind of like sparked that, and then just kind of always supported it. And then like my mom, she had me very early. She had me at 19. So she was like, oh, I don't think she was going to run track at Baylor, but I always had this thing like, oh, my mom wanted to go to Baylor. She ran track. I met people that ran track. But also just being in the Bay Area, I was fortunate enough to meet some very prominent Olympians at some of these camps early on. So like I met Kenny.
The Bay Area, we had on Coach Watts not too long ago.
Yeah, so was prominent to like meet some of these icons within the sport, and it just inspired me. I was like, I want to do that. I want to be an Olympian. Got humbled pretty fast, but
it happens quick, especially when you're in California, like your jumps and stuff there. Like you guys have no excuse but to train. It is always sunny and perfect in the Bay Area.
No, it's not. We get rainy season.
I mean, listen, I had a friend from San Francisco, and she said you guys used to panic in the rain. If it's a real thunderstorm.
rain, you're seeing people in North Face bubble jackets, so it's
yeah, you're in Jersey now. You realize if it's rain, we're kind of like a sweatshirt. We're good. Let's go.
No, the winter times kill me here.
Especially this past winter, it was brutal, and it was so cold and snow everywhere.
Especially having a 7-year-old, because he still wants to go outside and sled. I'm like, I'm not going outside.
It's too cold, kid.
So continue. Go ahead.
But yeah, it was really just my mom that sparked it, and then I started being from California, like I said. You have your high school track, but also summer and club track is a huge thing. So, USATF, AAU track meets were, as a kid, are a blast. Like, you're literally there all day hanging out with friends. You're meeting people. You're packing up the car with your teammates, and you're traveling down to Southern California. So it was those memories are core to me. And a lot of my good friends were from other high schools, so they were my rivals. And I tell people, I tell my kids all the time, I'll see their in the back buddy in the jump line. I'm like, yo, if y'all want to stop talking to people and jump, I'm like, people like,
at the meet your enemies.
That's the thing. People like, oh, you guys weren't friends. I was like, no, my best friends were my competitors, but when I'm on that row, I ain't talking to them. I'm like, if you see me talking, it's because I'm talking mess to them, and then I'm gonna go about my business. After we're done, oh, you're gonna see us in the corner playing cards or something. Like, we chilling, but
at most, if they do a really big jump, maybe give them a quick dap, like, good, nice job. That's about it.
I'll probably look at it and be like, all right, bet. Like, let me go get next.
You raise the bar, let's do it. That's good. That's good.
I mean, even at San Joaquin Delta, and we'll go into this a little bit more, I'm sure, but even there, like, at the time when I was there, I was probably the low man on the totem pole. In college, I went 46. I had some, in meets at least. I hit 48 in practice, but, my teammates were going 48, 49. I had Eric Salone, who ended up going to USC, was a 55-foot triple jumper. Like, wow. So I was a low man. Like, I'm chilling, but, I'm going to get my opportunity. But it was amazing because those were my best friends and we had a blast. But every day was a track meet for us in practice. It's like, all right, who's earned bragging rights this year? And, I try to create that same environment in my training group and with my kids. And it's funny because some kids I trained, they're like, coach, I always wanted to win and I hated losing. But like, now that I started training you, like, I despise losing. I'm like, good. That's what it should be. Like,
it's funny too, because we've talked to a lot of coaches that have been switching up a little bit, not being as much a hard ass, is still
Nah.
expecting to like have their kids win, but like, and these are like veteran coaches that have been around the block for years and they're switching up their style a little. But I love hearing the way you coach because that's the way I coached and that's the way I like to be coached. Is the expectations are here, the bar is here. If you don't make it, but you gave a good effort, acceptable. If you don't make it
that's
and
all
you
I
were
asked for
dogging
is
it,
effort.
if then it's on you and we're gonna have a problem. Do not dog it. Like that's always the way I was.
I mean, how I tell kids all the time is like, I'm not expecting you to be a state champ. I'm not expecting you to be a county champ. All I can ask for is effort because everyone has different talent levels. So, but the thing I am going to promise you, as long as you work and you trust me, like I'm going to pull the best out of you. And that's not even just in the track, but that's just even in life because at the end of the day, sports doesn't last forever, no matter how good you are. So it's like, what lessons can we go in? And it's like, my biggest thing is like, I want to instill your confidence in you. And that's the biggest thing, especially with these kids nowadays, they need the guidance. And for me, it's, I'm going to push you to your other brink, but at the same time, we're going to have fun. Like we can play around, we can do these, like, my group, like I tell them, like I don't really care if you cuss unless my kids are around. Like try to be mindful. But other than that, like we can have fun. Like you can talk mess. You can be upset. You can be frustrated because that's human. Like my undergrad is in psychology, and I always emphasize the human aspect. Even like if a kid loses, like I'm gonna comfort you and I'm gonna tell you like it's okay to feel that because you care. But at the end of the day, like you can't change it. So what you can do is you can feel it out, and 24 hours you got to flush, and we right back to work.
I give the 12-hour rule. You give them a little bit longer. I give the
Nah, I give it
12-hour
24.
rule. You got 12
I'm
hours
gonna
to
see
be
you for
angry.
24
After
hours,
that,
so
you're done.
until you see me again.
Well,
And then
I think it depends on whether they have a meet the next day or not. You know, then that's how long I usually.
And I mean, I had it
give them
happen
to-
even this past indoor. You know, Shauna, we had the lofty goal. We wanted to really go and get the double. And she was leading all competition in long jump. And that last jump, someone snatched. She went from first to third. And, you know, she's in tears. She's like, man, I really wanted it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm trying to comfort her. I was like, all right, like, I hear you, but you got triple jump in like 15 minutes. So I need you to.
Here's the thing. And being a jumper and coaching jumpers, it's different because I was a runner, right? The runners, I can control what goes on in that meet on the track. It's me. We're all on the track together. Obviously, there's certain things I can't control, but we're competing mano a mano, essentially, right? In the jumps, you're going in turn. So it's like where she had that lead, you can't do anything if two other competitors jump further than you and you don't have another jump, right? Obviously, you want to do your best jumps before that, but as a jumper yourself and now as a coach, do you guys in those field events, do you feel powerless at times where you're just like, I just PR'd massively and I think I'm good and I don't have any jumps left. I feel great. And then boom, these things happen. Some athletes jump out of their mind. And is there a powerless feeling there when that situation?
For sure. There's definitely a gut check and it can be wrenching, especially if if you're leading an entire event and then like, you know,
last jump.
You're the last jump, like especially if you're like that's when it's the worst. Like when you're the last, like you've been leading all event, you're the last jumper, and then let's say someone goes in right before you and they get an inch on you. You're like, okay, like I can go get that. But most of the time, what happens, especially with younger athletes, right? Because it's the mindset now. It's like I know I can beat that, or I know I can do. Because also there's countbacks, so it's like if I match it, I'm already gonna win on countbacks. But it's the mindset of okay,
I have to do it now. I have to do it right now.
I wouldn't even say that. Like it is that, but it's also like, how do I get to be like, hey, like you got to go now, but you also can't press.
Yep, right. Got to be calm.
You need to be present and focusing on like, what do I need to jump that far, rather than I got to jump that far.
Yeah, and you can't change, right? Like you can't go in there and change up. You have to, like you said, trust your mark. Do everything the same. You got to be a robot. And if you continue to do the same thing, your results will get better, like with minor tweaks, but you can't, it's your last jump in the competition. You can't go make a big change right there.
I'm a huge proponent and people bag on me for it, but like I refuse to let my kids call for the clap. Unless you're really like that, like there'd be times like certain athletes, certain competitions, like I'll tell them like, hey, like you need a little extra boost of adrenaline, like call for that clap, but also move your mark back 6 inches.
Right. Cause you're going to be hyped.
You're going to be hyped. But the thing is, so many kids just call for it, but they don't understand why they're calling for it.
Yep.
And the thing is, they get so lost in the hype of it that they let the clap dictate their rhythm, and then now everything's off. So it's like, and that's why like you see Tara Davis, you see these Olympic triple jumpers, like they'll stop people if the clap is not right, because you're supposed to initiate the rhythm you want, and then the crowd's supposed to mimic that rhythm. That way you're just in line with it. So you're getting that boost of like, hey, everyone's here behind my back supporting me. But if I'm just going and now the beat's all off or it's crazy fast, you've now kind of already thrown yourself out of it.
Do you practice that at practice? Do you have a group of you and like try to practice, like find your rhythm? Let's like, because I feel like that would be a cool thing to kind of practice there to try and simulate a mini crowd.
Simulate it because obviously the crowd sizes are different, but also competitive energy. Like if I have an athlete
not as hype in
going
practice,
42 feet, but then my next best jumper is only 36, I can't get that dopamine. So how I don't necessarily practice the clap, but what I do try doing, it depends on the athlete, because there's some athletes where like they don't want that, and that's fine. Yep. So it depends on the athlete, depends on their personality, depends on their ego, right? And it's like, what do I need to like? It's my job as a coach to know my athlete. Like, what do I need to do to get you at your peak when I need it most?
Yeah.
Do I need to calm you down? Do I need to bring your nerves off? Do I need to? Maybe I don't need to talk to you at all. Maybe I'm just like,
yep. Yeah, I mean,
like,
if you come to me, I'll say something. If not, go do your thing.
Right.
I have a few athletes where it's like, they're warming up just like, and they give it back and decide they're good. And then other kids you have to talk to and get them ready. Yeah. But that's part of being a coach, is knowing what each kid needs. Well,
that's some kids. Like I try to. Sorry to cut you out. I try to be like a huge proponent of education in it, especially events like jumps. They're so technical.
It's all
technical. And my thing is like, number one, if you understand it, it makes it so much easier to coach you. And from a coachable standpoint, but then it also makes it for meet days, you're a lot more present, because let's say something goes wrong. Let's say I got to run over to the boys long jump, or I got to run on a high jump or not. And I can't get back to see it. And someone takes a video. You can be like, oh, here's the video. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'll be like, all right, what did you feel? Oh, I didn't push out my back end, or I didn't, my drive wasn't long enough. It's like, cool. I ain't got to tell you nothing. So you already know it's fixed.
Yeah. So when it comes to
put the ownership on them.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
When it comes to long and triple jump, kind of explain to the layman, because Dave and I aren't jumpers. I enjoy watching them. If I was forced to teach an athlete to do it, I could probably do the basics, right?
I'm so old.
I'm not. Yeah, there's not. If I was asked to do long and triple, my kids would get better, but not better. You know what I mean? Like they would do it off their own repetition and talent. I would give them the very bare bones.
I'm so old that when I was in high school, we didn't even have triple jump in New Jersey.
That's great. So what is the difference between teaching the two events, and do you start off allowing athletes to do both? And then like, because I've noticed as they get older, there is kind of that, you're focusing on one or the other, not both type of thing. So what goes into that?
Like from a simple standpoint, from like a very baseline, long jump is speed.
Sure.
Speed. Where triple jump is rhythm and coordination. Like if you're not coordinated, you're not triple jumping. Like I can teach you basic coordination to be able to take off on one foot.
Yeah.
Are you going to be super good or elite? That's to be determined, but I can teach you how to take off on one foot. But to be coordinated to do a triple jump, like I go to meets and it utterly makes me cringe to see how many coaches put their athletes in harm's way. 90% of kids should never triple jump, in my opinion. Because and it's also not even just from a physical standpoint of if you're not doing it correctly, you can get hurt. I mean, that's how my injury came, just because of doing it improperly. So I'm a huge proponent of playing safety first, because they're developing kids. And if the technique is not right, you're going to get someone hurt.
Sure.
But then you get coaches where their egos are involved too. And let's say I have a kid who jumped 42 feet for his first time, right? All of a sudden this coach is like, oh, we're going to go off the 40-foot board all the time.
Why?
What? Why?
36.
Yeah.
Max.
Well, that's like we're at counties this week, and we just got our track redone. We have 2 brand new pits. We had them last year. We only have a 24 board. Is it 24? Yeah, it's a 24 and a 32.
Us too.
Like, oh, why is there not a 28?
We have a brand new track. It's 24-32. That's it.
And I was like, and they're looking at me like, I'm gonna put them down. I was like, we don't need more boards. I'm like 95% of these kids. I'm like, I can name the 2 athletes that might need another board. Everyone else does not need another board.
Nope.
And go ahead and argue with me, because I'll prove you wrong, because look at the resume.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's the thing too. It's like being a good coach, I can imagine, it translates sometimes protecting the athletes, right? Like just because you had that kid that jumped 42, it's talking to him and going, listen, I don't care that you did it once. Okay. If you start consistently jumping 42, 40,
we'll
maybe
discuss
we'll talk about the 40, right? But go with what just got you there. That 36 just got you that 42. Show me some consistency there. Cause then we have to change up a little bit about what we're doing, where you're starting from. Like, there's differences in all those.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing too, is, and maybe this is me because I take a very holistic approach, and maybe it's because I'm a parent as well. But it's just like, if I get a child hurt, number one is that guts me because I'm like, I didn't do my job to protect you. But also as a parent, I would be pissed if I knew that you were just intentionally doing idiotic stuff to put my child in harm's way. Like, we're gonna have problems. So for me, I'm a huge proponent of always safety first and pulling people. And I'll have kids like, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm like, no, you're done. Like, I don't care. I don't care if you could have won. I don't care about the points. Like, you're done. I'm not getting you hurt. And if you're feeling something, like, we'll rehab it and we'll go after it next week.
Yeah.
Like, I have a girl right now that I train privately, and her season hasn't gone the way she wanted. And she rolled her ankle pretty bad. And she's like, oh, they don't know if they're going to shut me down for the year. Like, I can't end my season like this. I'm like, you got to let it go. Like, it's already happened. And I hear you. You're stressed. Your junior year, you wanted it to be different. But that's life. Like, sometimes things don't go the way you want. You have to let go of it and focus on the present and get healthy. And then we'll go back to the drawing board and figure out what we got to do to get you in the position that you are aiming for or close to it next year. And
the hardest thing,
hard to hear that, but that's the reality of it sometimes.
The hardest thing to tell a young athlete that's injured is you have time. Because in the moment, you feel like, I got to get these in, colleges, this and that. And the hardest thing to tell them is take your time. Because if not, I use myself as an example. I came back way too many times, way too fast on my ankle. Now, I found out I was stress fractured in the 7th grade. Didn't know until senior year, but I probably could have taken a little more precaution to not come back as fast as I could.
Yeah.
I thought I needed to be back because Dave knows I was a good runner at my school, and I felt the pressure of, I got to get back on the track. I got to get points. This is what needs to happen. And, it's nothing against, Hyatt was one of my coaches, and all of my coaches were saying, are you ready? Take your time. And that's, the battle with the athlete is, yes, because you can do it. Are you ready to fully do it though? Like, being able to compete at your best are two different things.
It's the athlete too. It's the parents too. Sometimes the parents are like, hey, how come my kid isn't doing this or doing that? And you got to, like you have to educate the parents too, because in track and field, it's not a sport that a lot of parents know. So they have to be educated.
Well, it's also
as well as their kids.
It's also tough too, because it's like, number one, we now live in a society of instant gratification. So there's that aspect, and the highlight reels of social media, they see kids that are similar to them getting recognition or whatever it is. But it's also, they see professional athletes going through injury. But I'm just like, that's a professional athlete that has millions of dollars to take care of. Like, they
trainers,
but they also have the resources to make sure they're not making it worse.
And that's their job. They're not walking through school every single day and dealing with the day-to-day life at that point.
They're at home.
They wake up and they go to the trainer right away. They're rehabbing. They're getting STEM. They're in a friggin' pool. They're getting the best thing possible, where you are forced to walk around in school, have to focus on class. What's my girlfriend or boyfriend doing? Like, there's a lot of things going on where a professional athlete is just focusing on that. And
it's their job.
It's incredibly different. It's apples and a piece of wood. They're not even the same thing, like in the same realm. So here's a question for you. When you're getting some freshmen or even some athletes in the group, what are you looking for in certain kids that's like, you come with me, you're a jumper? Or do you let them come to you?
A little bit of both. I think there is, so like, perfect example is like Kennedy White, who's at University of Arizona, and Ashley Noel are my first two athletes. They both had never done track. Kennedy had never done other sports. Ashley used to be a competitive gymnast until she got scoliosis surgery.
Oof.
Which we can talk about that offline. That's a whole nother story, but she's a beast. One of my favorite athletes. Both of them right away, like, number one, they're very tall and lean. So right away, like, from a physical standpoint, I'm like, yeah, like, you're mine. But there's a level of elasticity, or like, in a layman term, bounciness that they have, whether it's the way they run or the way they might do a pogo. So there's definitely elastic qualities that I look for in an athlete. Maybe it's taller and I'm biased, but like, especially at least for triple jump, like, height does have an advantage.
Sure.
So I tend to try to find those qualities, but that doesn't deter someone being shorter. I mean, Shauna is 5'5", so she's definitely on the shorter side of jumpers, and she's phenomenal. So there's definitely, but she's super elastic. So for the most part, I try to look for those elastic qualities. And I love the developmental side, so I try to look for the projects. But aside from any of that, I look for coachability because I don't care how talented you are. I don't care if you have the qualities. If you're not willing to be coached and at least be open to something, I'm not going to waste my time. And it's just like, I know it's bad to say even being a high school coach, but I'm like, I know how I coach and I give 180% all the time if you give me effort. And I will do everything in my power to bring out the best of your abilities. And while I have a foundation of how I train you, I try to individualize everyone's practice and take the time to really make sure that your needs are met and whatever your strengths are, we're hiding them, but also bringing your weaknesses up so we can bring your floor up as well. And then there's kids where, maybe I didn't see them or maybe they were a little shy and, they were like, hey, can I come one day? I'm like, yeah, let's try it. So I never shy someone away, but I just tell kids, like, just be coachable and just give me effort. From there, like, we'll figure it out. And maybe jumps isn't, but maybe while we're doing it, I'm like, hey, like, let's go try these hurdles. Like, maybe you're not meant to be a long jumper, but
go to your other love.
But it's even then, and I think that it's always just trying to find where an athlete's place. Like,
yeah,
there's always qualities. Like,
track is so universal, right? Like, basically, anyone can have a place on a track team. Are you big and strong? Okay, let's go try and make you throws. Okay, you have some bounce, but not for a jumper. Like you said, let's go maybe do some hurdles. Like, you can find a place.
Like, finding where these kids fit.
Yeah,
it's not even so much finding where the kids fit, but it's getting them to be willing to try it too, because they see their friends like, oh, my friends are sprinters. Like, I'm a sprinter. I'm like, no, sweetheart, you're not a sprinter. Like,
you're a 2-miler. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. Like,
so it can be tough at times, and I think it's just, and sometimes like you're not going to win those battles, so there's no one to just like be like, cool, like, hey, I offered it, you didn't want it. That's cool. You can stand there. Like, I'm not going to beg you to come over here, but
so we had
you pick and choose your battles.
It's like a fun litmus test that we had in Hyatt. Coach Musoff, at the beginning of his seasons, he was our indoor coach. He would sit there and on a nice day, he would put everyone on the track. If he didn't know you, he'd say, go run a 400 as fast as you can. And he would watch them. And as they crossed the line, he would go, okay, go to distance, you go to sprints. And he would sort you off the 400. He would just watch you because he was like, you could tell everything you need to know about a runner from their 400. And
so I'm kind of the same way, but I do it a little different. I base on everyone how they skip.
The A skips and B skips and C skips.
Just skip.
Just regular skip.
Just a basic skip. Because it's going to teach me how you naturally strike with the foot.
Sure.
Do you strike heel to toe? Do you strike heel to toe? Do you strike on the ball of your foot? Are you toey? Do you have a natural little spring to you? Just a basic skip, but also from a basic rudimentary level of coordination, it shows me where you are in your development. So if you can't skip properly, how can I expect you to sprint properly?
Have you had to teach people how to skip?
I've had adult private clients that I had to teach how to skip. It's the thing. So it's like even that, like my private training group during the summertime, like everyone's like, oh, the typical go run 2 laps. Nope, go skip 2 laps. And I'll have kids the first time they start training me, they're like, yo, why was that so hard? I'm like, because you don't know how to push through your foot properly. But I'm like, that's why we're teaching how to skip, because number one, it's also engaging every muscle in your leg that just jogging is not going to, because most people jog half-ass anyways. But it's warming everything up, but it's naturally teaching you how to push through the ball of your foot. And that in any event in track is going to be key to everything. Because if you learn how to push, it's going to help you run faster in distance. It's going to help you sprint faster. It's going to help you be more aggressive on the runway for jumps. For throws, it's going to help you, learn how to push and turn through the pivot of your hips. Like, pushing is everything. So it's like, if you can't push through your foot, you're not going to succeed in this sport.
I like that. So I want to talk about your club on the mark that you have.
Yeah.
Because I understand, because, we actually had Coach Schneekloth on the show from Garden State Track Club a few weeks ago, and he's made some controversial statements, and we talked about them. But clubs are an iffy thing in New Jersey. They really are, and I'd imagine
not so much for the field events.
Not so much for the field events, but I'd imagine you coming over from, it sounds like a culture that club track was just something you guys had in the Bay Area. It was like us having football or soccer or
Yeah, I
basketball.
would
Like,
say that would be the one differential. Is like I don't really consider On the Mark as a club.
okay.
I don't I don't plan to go into like meets and have kids competing on the mark. For me, it's a I mean, we've all seen them, the Maxwell twins, how they run through APX. Like it's kind of that same idea. It's like I want a private development group where it's like I am helping you develop, especially for field events. Like I'm not opposed to working with jumpers, hurdlers, anyone else,
Yeah.
but my specialty is in the jumps, and that's just what it is, and it's my baby. And I've had success at it. So it's like, but I also see the potential of so much talent that doesn't. There's for every 100 good sprint coaches, there's maybe 2 good jump coaches.
Oh, it's hard. The field events in general, it is hard, and there's a good place for people like you.
That was
Yeah.
the idea of it. It's like how, and it's shifted. At first, it was like, oh, I'm just going to be, a track and field training club, but it's definitely tailored down into wanting to be like an athletic development group, but being very selective how I'm curating the group from my former athletes when they come back on break, but also athletes that I'm working with in high school, and just making sure it's a good mesh of raw talent, raw effort, but everyone is there for that same person of just like wanting to be better, and just also creating an environment where there's just no bullshit. Like we know why we're here. Like we're gonna have fun. We're gonna we're gonna bond. We're gonna be friends. But we're here to work, and it's shifted to at first last year it was a lot of just one-on-one, but this is the first year where like it's so focused. Like the one-on-one will still be there because not everyone has time schedules, but like the main focus is to really just start developing the group aspect of it and really just building that out to where kind of what I had growing up. It's just like these are my best friends, these are my rivals, but they're also my partners.
And and I think that's good because we see a lot of the pole vault barns popping up everywhere. Like the pole vault barns are becoming a big thing, and it's necessary because field events, like you said, it's hard to find, there's a lot of good coaches out there that can figure it out, but to find coaches that literally know what they're doing, like you, like Coach Crawford, and there's so many other good coaches, but they're not as often, you find the distance in a sprint coach much more often, and even some good shot put and discus coaches, because a lot of football players and bigger guys eventually became throwers, and then, oh, this is my sport, did it in college and came back, right? The jumps are so much more niche, whether it's long triple, high jump, pole vault, that I think it's necessary to have these performance development groups like you have and I don't think many high school track coaches, unless that's their specialty, are going to be mad about their jumper going to get extra work at a specialty group. Like it's a different thing.
No, you see it with the throws.
Yeah. You would think.
Well, no, like you definitely see it a lot with the throws, and pole vault are 2 ones that are very, very big with outside coaching.
Yeah.
But now
pole vault for sure, because also like I've had parents ask me like, oh, can you teach pole vault? I'm like, hell no.
Yeah.
Number one, I don't know enough about it, but I'm also like, that is, if triple jump is technical, like pole vault is times 10. And that is where if you don't do it right, like you will actually get someone potentially killed.
And the body control is so insane with the pole vault. Like I know you guys focus on a lot of body control off the takeoff, right? Because that's part of it. Knowing how to reach and how to position your body in the air is big. Like for me, I would just jump around and I'd be like a wacky inflatable arm man. I would do nothing right. But I mean, pole vault's another thing where it's not enough just to smash the pole down. You have to be able to propel yourself and control your body. Like there's so much that goes into it. But again, with that, so with On the Mark, do all the athletes come to you in terms of that? And how does anybody?
It's a mix. There's definitely athletes where, I've known over the 5 years of being at Montclair now, and either, they've competed against Ashley and Kennedy or some of my other athletes, and just got to know those kids and those relationships. And then like during the summertime, reach out to them or be at meets and be like, I'll just like invite them, like, hey, like come train with us. But then I've had people reach out to me and be like, hey, like, I see what you're doing. Like, how can, I be part of this? And then I sit down and I take it very serious, and I'm very straightforward. I'm like, I'm not the coach for everybody. So I sit down and I really try to have honest conversations with, parents and just the athlete itself, and just figure out their mindset, and maybe that's the psychology background in me, and just really understanding where they're at, and just realize, like, letting them know up front, like, hey, like, I take this very serious. So if you're not as well, like, I'm just not, like, it's not about the money for me. Like, yes, the private coaching, like, can it be lucrative for sure, but I try not to beat people over the heads because I'm a parent myself, so I understand it. But I also just love the sport. But at the same time, I don't need your money. Like, I'll figure it out. So it's like, for me, it's like I'd rather curate the group to have the right environment than just taking some money.
And so if anyone is curious, if you're a jumper, if long triple, if you're a parent or know someone, go to over here where we're at now, trainonthemark.com. By the way, what am I doing? I'm a fan of this logo. I think that's awesome. Where the hell did you think of that?
So having a background, so on the mark, it's actually just a play. It's just a play on being a jumper, and as a jumper, we're trying to make sure we're on the mark.
See, I thought of it as getting ready at the start line. On your mark, just a play on that too.
So it really just started as a play on that, and then the logo. I reached out to a graphic designer. I was like, hey, like, this is kind of what it is. Like, I don't want wings. I want it to involve track. I was like, you kind of have free reign, like, just create something. And that's what they came up with. And it actually kind of represents an M. And then the swoop of it is just track lanes. And I was like, all right, that works. Perfect. I'll take it.
That's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool looking. So, but everyone, if you know what we're in what area are you mostly North Jersey with that?
Yeah, so I'm in North Jersey, so I'm in the Essex County, mainly. Most of the group in the summertime are kind of Montclair, Bloomfield area. But I have partnered with David Lato over at High Intensity Track in Fairfield. So I've been training out of his facility with athletes I train with through On the Mark, but also I came on as a coach under High Intensity as well. So I'm helping out coaching some of the group classes that he has.
Very cool.
Giving him some help. He's an amazing coach. He's left high school track and field in the sense of coaching high school, and he coaches at Columbia University, but he has his business and was kind of just shorthanded, and we've had a relationship over the past few years. And, I was using the space and just kind of renting the space for my own one-on-ones with some of the athletes during the wintertime. And then through conversation, it was just like, hey, like, I'll come on and help out. Like, I love what you got going here. I think there's a huge opportunity to see your business grow, especially because I'm a huge proponent of the strength and conditioning side of track and field as well. And, we're a peak performance sport, and I think it's necessary. And I think it's a massive key that high school track and field is missing.
Big time.
If it's not missing, a lot of high school track and field athletes go to strength and conditioning coaches that are in team sports, and they kind of kill their natural athleticism because they're training to be a field athlete rather than a track athlete. And there is why people will say there's no difference. There is a difference of how it's periodized and just some training, at least for me. And
I gotta give
athletes that proved me right. So
I gotta give my our Marist strength and conditioning coach Aaron Suma a shout out, because I don't even remember our strength and conditioning coach my freshman year, because he was just modified football lift for everybody.
Yeah.
And when Coach Suma came in, he quite literally sat down and with the team and said, you guys are here. You guys are here. Yeah. You are different athletes. You're different, all of you. I'm not gonna give a javelin thrower the same lift routine as a shot putter. They're not the same. Yeah. I'm not gonna give an 800-meter runner the same routine as a 5K guy.
Yeah, we lift as
not the same. And he individualized all of our units, and every sport was like that for him. So shout out to Coach Suma. We need more strength coaches that understand the different sports and how to train them.
We all lift as a team, but we have different sheets for distance, for sprints, for jumpers, for hurdlers. Like everyone has their own set of lifts that they do, because we're not going to train our shot putter like our 2-miler.
And Coach Griff too over in Manchester. Coach Griff is huge about getting in the weight room the right way over in Manchester, and it works with. He does. I'm a proud Manchester alum, but we are the small school that can, and we pump out good track athletes all the time. And Coach Griff is massive because he's huge on hitting the weight room and hitting it the right way for your event. Don't lift like a sprinter if you're not a sprinter. Have functional muscle. So don't things like that.
I just thought something, and it's something that I haven't seen in a while. What were your thoughts? I guess maybe a year or two ago, where they were just going to do the long jump where you could just jump from anywhere, where like you didn't have to hit the actual
zone.
We thought it took all the skill out of the actual sport.
Absolutely.
We were
because there is a proponent. Our job is to be masters
hit the board
for our promotion. Everything hit the board and be on the mark.
That'd be like taking a net away
like
from
that.
tennis, right? That's like quite literally, let's take the net away from tennis, and wherever you hit it, it's fine.
Or
no
in the
net.
shot
Like,
put,
well,
like
even-
you don't foul. You just anywhere from
even
the
a boy
circle.
I train privately. He goes to Columbia High School. I've been working with him since the summer, and we're at our county meet. I'm out there coaching him, and his first jump was a little rocky. Second jump, got back on track. Third jump, toe foul. Like we knew he made final. Third jump was a toe foul, and he's like, "Oh, that would have been a PR." I was like, "No, it's not." He's like, "No, it would have been a PR." I was like, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. I'm like, it's a foul.
Favorite phrase.
I was like, but now you know you can jump that far, so go adjust it and do it correctly. And then we made the final, came back, and he barely made the finals. He was 8th going into finals, and we cleaned it up. We adjusted his approach, and he put it together, and he PR'd by 1.5 foot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, his PR going into was 42.7, and he went 44.2, and he's a sophomore. And it jumped him up and took second place as county. He was hyped. Almost got DQ because he was cussing left and right. But they let it go because they could tell how hyped he was, and his parents were there. And I told him at the beginning of the summertime, I was like, if you just buy in and you do this, I was like, we'll go 44, 45 this year as a sophomore. I was like, by your senior year, if you stay with me, like I'll get you to 50.
That's elite. That's elite right there.
I tell all my athletes that, even like when Shauna started training with me, I was like, just looking at her qualities, looking at how we're training, watching how fast she was developing under the training program. Like I kept on having to readjust, and I was like, we're gonna go 43 this year. She's like, what? I was like, believe it, we're gonna go 43 this year. And sure enough, we went down to Carifta games, and she went 43, and I was like, well, I was planning that for the end of the year, so I got to go do some adjustments. So like,
that's a good problem to have. A good problem to have right there.
I mean, literally, she won the gold medal. I was on like that natural kick and high that she won because I knew how hard she worked for it. I went back to the Airbnb that night, and I couldn't sleep, and I literally rewrote her whole spring training program.
That's awesome.
And I texted her the next day before she had long jump, and I was like, because we were meeting her at the medal ceremony, I was like, hey, like, good job, proud of you. I was like, but this is just the beginning. I was like, let's go chase 45. And she's like, what? I was like, why don't we go? I was like, let's go chase the high school national record. Like, why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you already did what our end of the year goal was, now let's go.
Why not?
Because you know what? What's the worst that happens? You jump 44. Oh boy, right? Like what a bad thing.
Well,
like,
but it wasn't even so much. It wasn't even so much like being delusional. Since it's like I was watching the videos back in the Airbnb of our rerun programs. Like, there's so many technical flaws here, and we still went 43. I mean, she overextended at the board, so she didn't run through it properly. Over-rotated going into the long jump phase, was going into a 1.7 headwind. I was like, there's so much wrong here, and we PR'd that massively. So I'm like, there's no reason we can't do it. I mean, even her 100 time, when she came to me, her 100 time was 13.3, and she hasn't run like a automatic time, but they had a dual meet, and they hand timed her at 12.1. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, that's 12.4 laser. Yeah. I'm like, that's already a second off your 100 time.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So how much as a coach are you a student of the pros and the good collegiate jumpers? Do you watch them a lot and try and look at some of the different things they may be doing approach-wise to bring to your athletes that are similar, or some of the adjustments you see
I try
them
to
making?
find body types, right? So like Kennedy White, right? So my first athlete, she's the prototype. Every athlete I train needs to thank her, because every experiment, every drill, everything, she was the first to try it. She was the first to buy into just trusting it. And it paid off for her, and that's why she's at University of Arizona right now, and why she's a state champion. No one can ever take that from her.
Yep.
And with her going into her senior year, we were at practice in the summertime, and she started double arming. And I was like, I'll just watch this for a little bit, because with her, she was a little bit unorthodox as a single armor anyways, because she didn't do an over the top motion, and I could never teach it because I've never done it, and I don't.
So explain to the layman's, what are the difference between the arms? Because if someone's listening to this, they're like, so what do you mean? Don't the arms just move?
Arm within bounds or a jump, it's essentially just like you're running. One arm is going against the opposite arm. Whereas a lot of the times double arming, whereas both arms are going back at the same time, both arms are coming forward at the same time. You'll see it within male jumpers, but not so much female jumpers. You're starting to see more and more female jumpers on the collegiate and pro level do it. But what I've learned, at least this is my theory, the athlete has to come to them kind of natural, but it also has to be, there's certain qualities there. With Kennedy, she's 5'10". She is a very tall girl.
Yeah.
But because she had a natural affinity of how her arm swings were, it just came natural for her. And she still had to learn and kind of get comfortable with it. But this year, like just talking to her, she was still double arming this, but then in the meet, she was single arming. And I was like, your rhythm is off. Like, you have to decide, are you going to be a single arm or are you going to be a double arm? And she's like, well, what do you think? I was like, I feel like you're more balanced double arming. So I think you should just be intentional about fully going after double arming. So with even in telling her that and working with her coach at Arizona, I was like, all right, well, I can't coach you. Obviously, your coach is there, and Dino is doing an amazing job with her. She's PR'd by a foot indoor and outdoor this year.
That's awesome.
As a freshman, they're getting ready for Big 12, so I'm excited to see how she does this weekend. I was like, all right, well, I know, obviously because I have her for her, I know she's a very visual learner. So I'm like, I can tell you the cues, you know how I've talked to you, you understand it, but you need to be able to visually click it. So I was like, all right, who can I find that is similar build that does it on a professional or collegiate level? Didn't want to give collegiate because I was like, you're in college now and I don't want you to compare yourself to them. So I was like, all right, who can I find at a professional level? Thea LaFon. 2 inches shorter, so a little bit shorter, but very similar builds, but also is essentially the queen of double arming on the professional level right now. So I was like, I sent her videos of Thea doing drills and also sent her views of Thea competing. And I was like, this is what I want you to look at in each phase. Just watch it over and over. I'm like, just how football or basketball watches film.
Yeah.
Like, this is your study.
This is your film.
Like, you need to know how they're doing it, and then you have to learn how to apply it. So the cue of what Dino's giving you in terms of that heel strike, this is the point. Like, he calls it a heel strike. I call it pop. Every coaching has different phrasing for it.
But it's the same thing. Yeah, it's like a football coach. A dig is a dig. Regardless of what your terminology is, everyone knows what a dig is.
Exactly. So like, I would sit on FaceTime with her and like we're going and watching the videos and I would slow down. I'm like, this right here, that's what I need you to focus on. And she'd be like, oh, and it just clicks. So even like with Shauna, I'm like, all right, Shauna, you're 5'5". I'm like, you're shorter on the side of triple jumps. I'm like, who can I find? Well, luckily enough, you're number 2 all time in state history behind number 1, who is literally the identical build to you.
Helps, right?
Katora Orgy is 5'5".
Yeah, she was awesome.
Elastic.
She was so good.
Here you go. Watch Katora's videos. Literally the same build.
Yeah.
And I'm also the proponent. Like my parents taught me closed mouths don't eat. And like I said, I try to individualize things. So if I don't have an answer, I'm going to reach out to people that do. So even like I'm like, all right, Katora Orgy had this success. She's very similar. What can I do? All right, Jeremy Fisher was our coach. Luckily enough, I've cultivated a pretty good relationship with Jeremy. I reached out to Jeremy. I was like, hey, coach, like, do you have time at some point? I have an athlete that's very similar to Katora. I just want to pick your brain of how you approach some things. Because he also got Katora later in her career. So there's some things already established. But I was like, if I have an idea of how y'all kind of approached it, I can adapt it to how I need to approach it. And then luckily enough, like I talked to Coach Isaac down at Georgia Southern, probably on a daily basis, and me and him he'll send me his jumpers videos, I'll send him my videos, and we just kind of bounce ideas of what each other are seeing, and we compare like the last 2 years is the first 2 years where like I've really dived into like controlling every aspect of my athlete's training program, and Shauna was like first athlete where I've really taken control of everything from off season into season, and it's working out really well for us. But even in that process, I'm like, all right, well, I got to learn. I need to ask people how they're approaching. So I reached out to the college coaches that I've had those relationships. I'm like, hey, how are you approaching preseason? How are you blocking it out? How are you approaching this? Is there adjustments? And luckily enough, they've been open arms and kind of just whenever I have questions, they've asked that. And it's not even just Coach Isaac. It's, Coach Austin down at University of Oklahoma. It's Coach Keith over at Texas Tech. So some of the best jump coaches in the world have been open arms to wherever I have questions and just kind of listen to me and hear me out and just kind of giving me a chance.
That's one of the things that I really like that you said is, as your former athlete came back, I'm not going to coach you anymore. Dino's your coach now. I'm going to help you. We still have a relationship. I'm going to give you little tips here, but he's your coach. And I do love that yes, you'll always care for them. You'll always be my athlete, but I'm now not stepping on your other coach's toes. And I feel like sometimes that's hard because you did build this relationship with some of these athletes and you want what's best for them. But at the same time, like, I do like that you have that ability to say, no, you got to go be coached as well.
No, so I tell my kids all the time. I was like, once you leave me for college, like that is your coach. I was like, you need to forget everything I taught you.
Yep.
I'm like,
buy into them.
I'm like, everything I taught you is out the door. I was like, you have to buy into the system. I was like, but now what I can do, if there is something that, you know, your coach has said time and time again, it's just not clicking for you.
You can compliment.
You can call me and be like, hey, coach, like, you know, coach keeps on saying this cue. It's not really registering me. How would you say it? I'd be like, oh, right, this outfit. It's like, oh, okay, because they've heard that terminology before.
Yep.
So now they can connect the puzzle pieces. And I very much, when I go to college, like I still check in. I talk to Kennedy on a weekly basis, and I've very much taken the mental performance coach because it is an adjustment when they go to college. So it's like, I know you for 4 years and I have the relation to understand how you tick. And also because you're not my high school coach or my high school athlete anymore, I can be a little bit more blunt.
Can be real with you a little bit. Yeah.
So now it's like, I'm going to be the mental coach because at the end of the day, from a ethical, moral, whatever standpoint you want to say, I also refuse to let you fail because I know how hard you work to it. So and I've been fortunate, every athlete that I've sent off, like I have a pretty good relationship with their coaches. And I like coaches know, like, hey, like I'm here. Like if there's something like, you know, you're just not getting through them, like call me and I'll go be the bad cop, you know? So I always try to just make it, it takes a village, right? Especially at that high level. So like this is your first year having an athlete. I've had them for 4 years. Like I should know them a little bit more. So, you know, if I can be an assistant to either party, like I'm open arms.
I love your willingness to just continue to help and everything like that. So is there any want to eventually start coaching some pros, or are you content with
yeah, that's definitely the goal. I mean,
there you go. Yeah, you didn't even let me finish. Yep, that's the goal.
Definitely have my own.
So when Kennedy's done at Arizona, come on home and let's get you to the Olympics. Is that the goal?
That's already been the plan.
There it is.
Got 2028 circled. So funny enough is because 2028 is obviously coming up. Yeah. Kennedy is American. Ashley can compete for Jamaica, and then also Sean actually competes for Trinidad. So I'm like, I need all three of y'all to make it. I'm like, I'm gonna get there one way.
But hey, listen, you're asking for three of the most competitive countries in the jumps, though. Like, they're all good at jumping.
Shauna definitely has the easiest pathway out of
with Trinidad. Yeah, but they're still good. Trinidad is no slouch in track and field.
I mean, for jumps, she's #1 in the country right now. So
really, okay then.
Well, she's number 10 in the world for U20s right now.
So here's the thing: just because she can jump for Trinidad, if she's within that United States, can we get her in the red, white, and blue instead?
Nah, both her parents were from Trinidad. Damn it. Okay, and even then, she's competed for Trinidad on an international stage now, so she wanted to.
I respect that.
4 years.
I just don't want another Mondo. Okay, I just do not want another Mondo where you train and get everything here, and then you go and you set world records multiple times with another flag.
Hey, like, by the end of the day, too, like those countries are going to take care of those athletes better.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Especially being a field athlete, like you're not making no money in America.
Nope.
That's the unfortunate part. And that's a God's honest truth.
The one field athlete probably making money right now is Tara.
And yeah, maybe Ryan Krauser, because I feel like Ryan has a lot of good sponsors.
But that's shot put. That's a different field of it.
Yeah, jumps, that's true. That's true.
They're taking jumps out of meets, so I'm like.
Yeah, no, and it's crazy too because I feel like some of the coolest pictures from track and field come from jumps. Oh, like watching the athletes like bent like a pretzel and stuff. Like some of my favorite pictures watching Jersey's finest, Carl Lewis, go flying through the air, man.
I got asked a question yesterday, and I want to see if Coach agrees. They asked me, what are the most impressive track and field records? And I said, high school to me, it's Michael Carter throwing 81 feet because that's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's insane.
But to me, pros, it's Jonathan Edwards. To jump 60 feet back when he jumped it is absolutely mind-boggling. And because we haven't had anyone really come that close.
It's
60
both
feet is
jumps. It's both men's jumps, right?
right. Well, I
60
mean,
feet,
29, yeah, too.
29, 10 or whatever it is in
It's
long jump.
yeah,
But even
but that's 60 feet. Like, I mean,
even the women's side. I mean, what
sure.
the long jump is 6, I think 57, which is, no, it's fine. It's like 757, which is what 24 and some change, and
crazy.
then Yulimar Rojas, who's still competing, is 1567, so it's 52 feet for
It's
a
just
girl.
crazy.
Like,
Wild.
I remember when Jonathan Edwards hit that 60, and we're like, "What? Like, how's that even?
Is there
possible?
enough of a pit?"
so this is what we go back to too. It's like I said earlier off show, right? It's like I only jump my athletes twice a week, and I really focus on mechanics of running. Jonathan Edwards, people don't realize, was fast as hell.
Oh, he was 100. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But not only was he fast as hell, he was a freak in the weight room.
Yes.
So there's on record, I don't remember the exact number, but I think he power cleaned like 2.8 his body weight.
Yeah,
That is, and the thing is too, it's like I feel like,
and people are like, oh, he's only 160 pounds. I'm like, 2.8, 160 pounds is absurd.
I also feel like the Olympic lifts have been shied away from a little more in a lot of different ways.
Know how to teach you, you're gonna get someone hurt.
That's the thing. And it's like, for me, it's like, for all athletes, there really isn't much better lift than a power clean if done properly, because that is a full, it is a weighted burpee standing. That is what it is. And it is, it's such a good workout. And I was fortunate that our weight coach in high school, I played football. He was a certified Olympic weight trainer. Like, he knew what he was doing. So he taught us all proper technique, from our deads, our power cleans, proper bench, not this crap where people are on their toes, backs fully bent today, and they're counting that as a bench. That's not a bench. You keep your lower back on the bench. You keep your heels to the ground. If they come off, it doesn't count. Like, that is the old school way, because you don't want to use your back and your legs to do a bench, because it defeats the purpose. Yeah. So, I mean,
you gotta get that good old Miss Frizzle. You need 450 narrow grip.
That's Miss Frizzle. She was on juice. Frizzle was on juice for doing that easy over there. But yeah, so I feel like, you're talking about the power clean. That's something that we can bring back to all of our athletes, and especially with, your jumpers, your box squats and stuff like that. All of your explosive types of more Olympic style lifts, obviously mixed with other things as well.
Even people ask me, they're like, oh, like, Shauna is such a different athlete this year. Like, what did you do? From a technical standpoint, she didn't jump until the middle of indoor. But from July,
just speed,
not even speed. Not even speed. Like, it was, because my thing is, like, she wasn't strong enough to maintain anything, whether it was running or anything. So it's like, when she came to me, I think she squatted, I'll have to go back in my notes somewhere, but I think she only squatted like 110 maybe. I think now, I haven't maxed her since the fall, but if I had a max her right now, she can probably do a single rep max of probably close to 260.
That's the thing too. You look at your elite jumpers, both men and women, their thighs are tree trunks. They are strong.
And
they have that strong base.
Like, I don't even go too crazy on them, because I'm like, I have to leave meat on the bone for the college coach.
Yeah.
So, like, perfect example is, like, I taught.
They're young. They're developing.
Yeah. So Shauna started lifting this year as a senior. Kennedy, I started lifting as a senior. Kennedy, same thing. I think when I sent her off to college, her single rep max of, like, barely past a quarter squat was 225. But I was like, it's a starting point. At least you know it.
Yeah.
Now she comes home, she's 5 rep maxing 315 for parallel squats. Like,
but it's also but then again, and I think it could it translates so well in the weight room to what you guys do in the jumps, though, because with the jumps, it is all technique. And in the weights, technique trumps a lot. You'll get strength, but if you have good technique, you're going to put up weight.
Well, there's two aspects of training that I really harp on in my training group, especially in the off season. It's strength and nutrition.
Yep.
Because a lot of these kids are, which is crazy because most of them can afford it, they just choose not to eat, are under nutrition. So they're not building proper muscle.
Yeah.
But then from a strength standpoint, I'm like, if you do it properly, when you get stronger, you produce more force. What happens when you have more force? You go faster, you go farther, you throw further.
More explosion. Yeah.
So it's like for the whole off season, like I'm training you on your strength aspects, but I'm not training just one aspect. Like I'm making sure you're a complete athlete. So I'm getting your primary, your compounds, your secondary, your tertiary,
auxiliaries, all that. Yeah.
I'm going to body comp you into I won't say elite athlete. Not everyone's going to be elite, but I'm gonna recomp you into an athlete.
You'll be at your peak of what you could do at that point.
Yeah. So like even another example is like I started working with Messiah Bronner from Winslow right after Meet of Champs. Yeah, right after. I haven't done any weight work with her. Like, luckily enough, she goes to someone in South Jersey, and she's lifted, so she has a good foundation.
Yeah.
But even then, so like now I've been able to tailor and like break down her triple jump and tailor that strength that she had. And there's still aspects where I'm like, okay, in the summertime, like we'll get this together. And like I have a good relationship with her soon-to-be college coach, and he's like, wow, it's night and day difference to start working you. I'm like, yeah, because like I broke everything back down because with Messiah, she's an amazing athlete, freak athlete. So she was an athlete triple jumping. She's now starting to look like a triple jumper rather than an athlete triple jumping.
Right. Yeah, you can get by on raw talent initially, but once you start to get to that elite level, when everyone is, getting properly trained, it comes down to the nitty gritty. It comes down to the minutia.
And that's even now, like, and I think this goes into like the development of boy side, and obviously this is a whole nother conversation because the egos and everything else with the young male, as all three of us know.
Young talented boys have egos? No,
never, especially in this generation, man.
No, not one bit.
But and that's the hard part too, is because you see the coaches' egos get involved too, and it's just like,
yeah,
there's so many boys where I'll be at meets, I'm just like, this kid could be so much better.
Is there any temptation to walk over them and just give them like a minor point? Nothing big, but just like a little, like
I do more often than not. I try to stay in my own zone, even with the private athletes. Like if I know you have a high school coach, like I try to keep away and give that respect because I'm a high school coach as well.
Yeah.
But the moment I disagree to the point of
safety,
you're putting the athlete at a detriment, I'm going to veto you. I don't care.
Do you have other coaches? Because obviously, field is a different animal. You guys are in a corner on your own a lot of times on that runway. Are you friendly enough with some other coaches and each other to sit there and look and be like, I'm struggling here. Can you watch them real quick and tell me what you see?
Yeah. So like the West Orange coaches, they're like cousins, right? All the West Orange stats are like cousins to Montclair. If they're running somewhere else, like their athletes be like, hey, Coach Willis, like, can you do my steps? I'm like, yeah, I got you. Or they'll be like, hey, like Austin, like, what'd you see for my athlete? Or like Coach Pinky over at North Star, like me and her, that's the homie. She'll be like, oh, like, what'd you see? And I'll be like, you could do this, you can do this. And I try to keep it very simple because obviously in a meet setting, I'm like, you can't change anything. So I'm like,
no, it's very minor.
Can I give you just to help and tweak it?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely those coaches that have that relationship, and then there's also coaches that I have kids privately, and the kid will come to me over them, and they get a little territorial, and I've had it to where a coach stopped showing up to meets because of it, and left the athlete to not have a coach at the meet, and that sucks sometimes because I can't be at every meet because I am still a high school coach, and I'm not at every meet that you guys are at. And it's come down to like their parents will be there and they'll send me videos that I'm coaching the athlete remotely. And usually that works out pretty well just because, like, again, going back to the educational standpoint, I teach my athletes what I'm trying to tell them and what they need to do. So it makes it to where when I give you a cue, you already know what to do.
So here's a question, and Dave, this is kind of compound for you, and maybe I'll start with you. As a head coach of a program, if you have a situation where you do have a performance coach like Coach Willis on the side that is helping the athlete, but how would you approach something like that? Would you talk to Coach Willis and give him, and Coach Willis, this goes also for you, would you talk to Coach Willis and like give him your expectations as a head coach with your athlete? And I guess compounded with that, Coach Willis, if that happens with a head coach or another coach, where do you stand on respecting those types of boundaries and things like that?
Yeah, so I always try to err on the side of caution, and I always try to make it a collaborative effort because, again, I am a high school coach as well. And I understand we have 120 kids. I can't pay attention to every kid. So if Jim or Bob or anyone else wants to go get a private coach, I'm all for it. Tell me who your coach is. I'll talk to him. That way I can also align my training with what they're doing with you, so I'm not burning you out. And I try to make it a collaborative more often than not. But again, it comes down to ego. You have coaches that are really open to it and be like, oh, wait, that's dope. Y'all are doing great. Like, I'm for that. Like, how can I help? But then you have other coaches where they do get territorial and they hate it. And and I tell people all the time, I'm like, coaches love to see me or they hate to see me, because I'm either really cool with you and you have respect for me, or you don't like what I do, and that's fine. And I try to show everyone respect, but at the same time, the moment it goes past that, I don't respect for you, and I'm going to veto you, and I'm going to take care of the athlete, because at the end of the day, too, like, these kids' parents are paying me, and I have to make sure that I'm holding up my end of the bargain to make sure this kid is prepared. And if I won't say any names, but I've been at meets and, you know, I've heard a coach talking to the athlete, and I'm just like, number one, they're children.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why these kids are already stressed over the pressure of a high level meet. Let's say it's sections coming up, right? Why are you focusing on every single negative aspect of the event rather than reinforcing one positive and then giving an adjustment? I'm like, the kid's already stressed. Why are you going to stress them more? So the moment that comes, like, I'll step in. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. You're an adult. That's for you to figure out. Like, my job as a private coach and also just a parent and the village in this child's life is to make sure the child is good.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And I can respect that. And, you know, and I think, and Dave, you can correct me here if I'm wrong, I think we can try to figure out more of a ways to get more of a collaborative approach, because I do think the clubs and development teams aren't going away. And I feel like and as we see high school track shifting in such a different direction with the NIL, with more private schools getting more kids, and with a lot of these types of things, I think the collaborative effort needs to be there more.
I feel it. Well, here's the reality. If the collaborative effort doesn't get adopted, your best athletes are no longer going to be in high school track and field. There's a reason the Maxwell Twins are not running high school track and field right now. And it goes down to egos and not wanting to be collaborative.
I mean, I feel like nationals is also a lot of money and stuff too. And and I think part of the issue with nationals is there isn't one, you know, USATF doesn't want to step in and do it. And they would be the only ones that could do it.
My solution to all this, I've been saying it, New Balance is east, Nike is west. That is your regionals.
Where does Adidas sit?
USATF in the middle.
Where does Adidas sit? Adidas wants to get in there, and Under Armour is going to make one too. Like,
Adidas needs to go away. It's a horrible meet.
I mean, to me, it's like I'm biased because New Balance was my biggest thing, and it was always for me. Nike was the indoor one. New Balance was outdoor. It's always the way I grew up, and I
Golden West.
Huh?
I didn't have a shoe company. I just had nationals. Like
Golden West was awesome.
You had Golden West, yeah.
Golden West was hell.
So it just depends on where you go. But I don't mind that. I think that's a good idea. Nike West. But here's the thing, though. USATF aligns with Nike. That's their team sponsor. They would never.
That's why it's there.
Yeah, they would never make one a regional over another and then do one and have it neutral because they have a deal with Nike. So it's always. I mean, maybe we can make Adidas the other regional. We'll move Adidas out west somewhere. And they can be in California.
Adidas just needs to not be a meet.
Oh man,
I mean, I'm controversial. Like
listen, I have a huge problem with all the national meets because for me there isn't a national champion.
Well, it's not even so much even just national meets. I think track and field has become babysitting, and I think even high schools need to make cuts.
I think that it's a good and a bad thing because it all depends on the school, because you have schools that are begging for kids and then you have schools that can make cuts. And
yeah, I mean, I think it depends on your school for sure.
But I also think too that we can't lose the sense of that, like, a lot of these kids are just there just to be with their friends and just to like.
But that's where I think we have to figure out,
because that's still high school sports though. Like that's still part of the lore of high school
that's
sports.
The challenge, right? But that is. This is even and this is because I'm from California. I despise the way New Jersey track and field runs. I truly despise it. Like, I think it's idiotic.
You'd be preaching to the choir. We don't like a lot of the things that go on in New Jersey track and field.
So
either.
like in California, even like how counties and stuff are run, like the fact that you can just enter 3 athletes in events is crazy to me. And well, at least Essex County. I don't know how the other counties.
Do you guys qualify over in California? It all has to be on qual. Or?
So we don't do groups. So in California, it goes. You have your conference meet, and then you have your sectional meet, and then you have masters. So masters is essentially our group, and then for masters you go to the state meet. The state meet is meet of champs. How California, you have to place top 3 at your conference meet to qualify for sections. At sections, you have to be top 3 in your section to make masters. Yep. And then for masters, it's top 2, I think, go to state. But we also have different divisions. So we have division.
You guys are also massive compared to Jersey.
But what's the difference in geography? Translated into New Jersey track and field. So we have division 5 through 1. 1 is essentially group 4 here. The larger division, because there is more kids, gets more qualifiers. Because the top end is more athletes. So there is no reason non-public B has 3 kids at the state meet who should not be there.
Used to be 6. Used to be 6.
Used to be 6. Yeah.
So
you're in at a good time where they've limited it because they have wild cards that come in.
Yeah, like now we have the.
Also, the wild cards even it out more. They give those bigger. They give 4 and 3 more.
If we adopted qualifications, you would get it to where those largest, like let's say group 4 gets right now it's 3 or 2, right? You get 4. Oh, non-public, you guys are small school. You get your 2 or your 1 or whatever. It makes it to where wild cards now go away and people are not complaining about wild cards because it's like your expenses. If you don't place this at your meet, you're not going, and that's it.
Hey, listen, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with standards. I really am. I'm with you. I'm with you on it when it comes to that.
Dave knows standards too because some of these standards be jokes.
Well, I mean, it's.
But it's hard, right? Because it's like even that, right? So I understand the weather situation makes it hard, but the way New Jersey does our scheduling is also idiotic. So like in California,
you're preaching to the choir here. These are all things we talked about on the show.
Dual meets matter because dual meets where
meets bring them back. That's where you create a team.
They counted towards conference titles. Number 2, this is where the JV kids always got to do it. So in California, Thursday is your dual meet. Saturday is your invite. Your varsity.
We had Tuesdays. Tuesdays was dual meet day in New Jersey.
So what it allowed, though, you actually get a proper training schedule because you are now getting Monday through Wednesday, so you can actually train properly. Early season, you're training through those dual meets, so you're using it as a high-intensity day.
Yep.
So your varsity athletes are essentially working out there, and then you're going to have a rest day Friday, and then you're going to have your big competition on to Saturday. So your JV athletes, because do we have Frosh in California? I think we just have a JV. Yeah, we just have a JV. You have your JV athletes, your dual meets. You're not going to the invites. You're not doing this. But the beauty of that, too, is at conference, there's a JV title to win. So you're not putting athletes in a varsity meet that shouldn't belong there because they can compete for a conference title as a JV conference title.
I mean, we have that. Like tomorrow, we have the Monmouth County Freshman Novice Championships.
So we have that too in Essex, but it's always they do the county and then like, all right, we're gonna do this JV meet on a random Wednesday when there's no other meet.
We actually have a lot of JV meets within our actual county.
Yeah.
So we have JV meets.
West Orange started hosting it, but it like alternates events, so it's not like necessarily true JV meets. But I just think for me, being from outside in, I think New Jersey, the way we structure it, just needs to blow everything up and restart.
Yeah, I'm a proponent of dual meets. I've always been a fan of them. And even, for someone, a lot of people complain and say it's too much running. Well, then you're not coaching your athlete up the right way. That's the way I see it. You can coach athletes to not go crazy during dual meets, especially
you can't run
your
top distance kids in dual meets and
why not?
Because
I never took dual meets seriously.
No, because here's my point.
I trained in them.
Like even with jumps, right? I hate when I see coaches jump athletes in all 3 jumps at a meet. I'm like, you're wrecking this kid's legs. Like, if I have the choice, how I am structuring it, if I have an athlete that only jumps, because once again, most of these meets, you only get 3 athletes in there. So if I'm doing long and triple jump, you're going to be on a pitch count. Your better event, like 1 week, you're going to do more long jumps, but you'll do less triple jumps. And then the next meet, we're going to flip it. But if I have the option, say my athlete is talented enough to be a sprinter in some of these earlier invites, what you're going to do is you're going to do a jump and then you're going to do a sprint. So it's either going to be the 100 or 200. And then the next meet, you're going to do the alternate sprint, and then you're going to do the other jump.
Yep. And my thing is, again, you're talking about distance runners, Dave. In the dual meets, most of the time I wasn't going faster than 440. And my 2 mile wasn't faster than like a 10:10. If I can't run a 440 and a 10:10 and go do that, and then go and compete Saturday full strength, then I was useless.
Because you're only 2 races, you could break that up and have a way better workout where you could do 1K, you could do a bunch of stuff.
Not if I use it in a way that it's a tempo. Like if I tempo that mile and then I use that 2 miles a negative to get to 10:10, it's a better workout because it's a race condition.
Who's only doing a tempo of a mile and 2 miles? Like you got to do way more.
I'm just using it as an example. Like you can use it as a training method.
I also don't think dual meets necessarily work in New Jersey because, I mean, I'll use Essex as an example. Even in Essex, we have this massive conference that has 4 divisions in a conference. Why not just split that up and those divisions are now your conference? Because then now your dual meets are those schools. You have 6 in that division. Cool. Those are the schools you're going within the dual meet. So now those dual meets now matter because now if you win the dual meet, you're going to get, 10 points towards your overall title or let's say 5 points. You're going to get an extra 5 points to whatever you then earn at the conference meet.
I mean, there's ways to do it, but you know what? The worst part is, Coach Willis, they've been doing this forever. And you are, it's, the only way to get in there is if you start getting on the NJSIAA board and you start advocating for track.
You're not going to get dual meets back. It's never going to happen.
Oh, I know. Too many coaches are babies.
No,
I mean, it's too much work.
It's not too much work. I don't know. I mean, like there's so many JV meets now, and there's so many freshman meets. Like you don't need them anymore. There's so many places to
get rid of the JV and freshman meets.
Why? Those are great.
You only have one. One. You don't need more than one.
But you don't want to run against like one. You don't want these kids to just running against one other team every time. You want them to get the invitational experience.
So they don't need that until they earn it.
Well, here's my thing. Dave, you can speak on this idea because you're actually a coach.
Yeah.
A head coach. I always said if I do become a head coach, I'm running it to where as the head coach, I am control of obviously the whole team, but I'm focusing on varsity and I'm hiring JV coaches. I will create the programming.
It depends on the school. They might not get that leeway. That's a tough part where you have to be at a certain school that lets you do that.
I'm also just I've always been the type of like, if I believe it, I'm gonna make it happen.
Do first, ask for forgiveness later.
So it's like, my varsity would never go to those dual meets, and they would train Monday through Friday. Friday would be rest day, and then we're only focusing on the Saturday meets. And here's the thing: I'm never running a relay meet.
I love relays.
My other controversial take, I think relays are killing the development of New Jersey track and field athletes.
I don't know.
You guys don't do relays in California?
They're starting to do them more now, but even then you're getting the 4x1, 4x4, 4x2, and 4x8, maybe.
I mean, listen, any kid, like, I don't know. I think if you asked any of these kids from and I don't want to speak for them from CBA's places, they'd much rather win Penn relays than win anything else. Like you're running with your team. Like I feel like there's a lot of people out there who want to take away the whole team aspect. They want to make this whole sport just to be individualized and who cares about teammates? Who cares about relays? This is high school. It's not college. It's high school.
I was a 4x4 leg. I was a second leg. I love relays. I'm not saying take away relays. But I do think the first half of New Jersey's high school season is relay meets.
Yeah. It's fun. It's for kids.
It's
That's where your
fun.
JV kids go and learn how to race and learn how to race with their older kids.
That's the thing. For JV kids, I think it can be beneficial. But here's where I think it's a detriment. Because you can have one really good athlete carry a relay.
Sure.
And then what happens is, because all they've done is ran relay meets, what happens when they have to go to that conference meet and they have to run a race by themselves? When someone pulls up next to them, they do not know how to handle that.
Well, I mean, that's up to each coach. Like we have one better kid, so we run our younger kids on a lot of the relays. Like, you just have to figure out what works best for your team. But there are tons of kids who we've talked to who say, I would rather run a relay than run an individual race.
I mean, I was that kid. I hated the open four.
I mean,
I was good at it.
But
so I got put
I
on
also think there's enough meets that you can pick and choose now,
Sure.
where you don't have to
But
go.
I just feel like
you
like
can do
we're
the
taking
relays. Like there's
all
some
the
staple
fun
ones
out of high school
Yeah.
sports. It's all becoming you have to this individualized pressure thing. Like whatever happened to just like running with my boys and we're gonna have some fun. Like it
And I
doesn't
will
always
say
have to be
this.
about getting a PR. Like high school sports can still be fun.
As a longer
sure.
distance guy, though, you do learn something about yourself in a relay, right?
Sure.
If you get that baton and you're only a little bit ahead, how are you running a solo race? You know how to lead.
Oh, for sure.
When you're chasing, okay, am I going to go out too fast? You learn a lot about yourself as a competitor, and you have strategy. You strategize in the relays.
I'm just a proponent. I think there's too many. Well,
that might be true. Too many options might be a good thing.
hold on,
But that's up to each coach. Like each coach has to.
I'll put one more caveat. Let me rephrase this too. I think running relays have an amazing place. I think there's too many of them, but I think they have their place. Field event relays, get rid of them. Get rid of them.
I don't know much enough about it, but I
do they average out? Like, what is it like with the field event relays?
It is harder to
you get
find kids.
So in Essex, we do 2. But some counties do 3 athletes.
Yeah, some have 3 athletes.
And they take all theirs and put the score together. But again, I'm not saying names, but I'll say athlete A. Let's say I train athlete A, and we have a training regimen. Let's say their coach agrees to the training regimen. But all of a sudden, they forgot they have this relay meet. Athlete A wasn't going to initially do that, but because they want to throw 2 other kids to get some points in there that should not be doing that event, athlete A now has to jump so they have a 3rd leg. But athlete A is way up here and has a very important meet next week. So now we are putting more load and fatigue on their legs.
But now we're also putting athlete A above the team and above everyone else. So like as a head coach, you have to look at the whole, you have to encompass everything.
This is another controversial take. As much as it is a team sport, there is, at times, there is athletes that in some ways are above. And
it depends on your team. But there's also a lot of those athletes who want to do the team things. So we're going to tell them that they. I think
this
tricky.
Is where
it's definitely tricky, and it all depends on your team. Like someone like I said, like CBA, like they're going to want to relays because they have so many kids who can. But I think school matters.
I also think
athletes matter. Like there's so many factors. Like there's not one thing that works for each program.
This is more than just track and field though, because any of your stud athletes on any teams are going to stand out, right? Like your best basketball player is above your other guys, the girls. You know what I mean? Like you're going to cater to them. I don't think track and field's any different, but I feel like this is our problem as we get higher up. We go from now we're struggling at the high school because high school used to be more team oriented with your standouts going to some different things. College is very team oriented. College is you're individual, but it's a team thing. Yeah. You're very proud of that logo.
Yeah.
And then pros,
team points
is
matter.
no team. And I think
that's my challenge difficult. As well too. And like I said, this is outside perspective.
Sure.
Yeah. Being from California.
No, I love this because it's great to get that.
Say, like I said, I think relays do matter. But the thing in California is the relays mattered. So once again, whether it's a dual meet, state championship, section, you might be where they're like, oh shit, it's coming down to just the 4x4.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna be on that leg, I'm our best 400, but I already ran 3 races. Like, hey, I'm hopping on there today.
It
Like,
used to
I
be that
understand
way.
y'all can handle it.
Austin, I'll
But
tell you, it used to be that way with dual meets, and Dave will tell you that we would have our last division meet against a team that's where this meet is for the division, and it would come down to that 4x4, or everyone would be around the high jump pit,
or everyone
so
watching
come
long
down
jump.
to 2 people high jump.
Yeah,
Well, it used to be that way where it mattered. Listen, the elimination of the dual meet has hurt this sport in New Jersey 100% because it's all a time trial now.
I'll reel it back, and I think that's
maybe in track, not in cross country.
I think
definitely an XA.
I'll reel it back, and I think that's where my problem is with the relay meets in terms of the development of athletes. Is it just doesn't matter anymore. So you're really just getting coaches throwing kids together on a relay and not necessarily developing them.
I think that's poor coaching, though. I think that is, if you still have your quality
let's
coaches.
Be honest, there's a lot of poor coaches in our sport.
Yes,
there is, but I feel like in Jersey we do have a good swath of coaches. We really do, and maybe it goes different by county, but I think you'll find that in any state as well, where some places are a little bit more serious about it, and then other places just don't have as much gumption.
The easiest way to look at it is look at each county and see what team is usually consistently in the top 3. Those coaching staffs are usually pretty good staffs.
Yeah. And it's hard too when you're going against public, private, and these types of things too, because public schools, it's harder to reload, right, with a lot of them. And if you're a private powerhouse, it's a lot easier to reload.
I mean, that's how I feel this year. I mean,
it's harder to reload when you're public.
I was fortunate enough to have 2 athletes that I developed and dominated, and this year I was like, it's the first time in 4 years I haven't had anyone in the finals. This is interesting.
Yeah, it's a little harder in the publics, and and especially I feel for some of the public coaches where that's like those dominant powerhouse privates are their neighbors, and now they're battling to keep those public kids home. I have a great program. Stay here. Don't go there. And
it's like one coach was joking to me. He's like, "Oh, you're just gonna have to develop." I was like, "I ain't got no talent to develop. All my kids." I'm like, Montclair is such a bad economic thing with their education crisis at the moment that all our kids have left.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, and the challenges come, but the greatest coaches rise above. And Coach Willis, thank you. We appreciate you coming on, man. This was
great debate. Thank you.
This was
nice. We can easily get an episode 2 sometime because
we 100% will because
we definitely didn't cover a lot of topics. I know y'all wanted to.
I'll tell you right now. No, we cover everything. Dave knows I'm always up to cover everything, and we are Jersey snobs. So it is nice to get a California snob coming on here because now we can battle.
See, we gotta get a day where we can get we gotta get Corey and me on here.
We'll get Corey and you, and then we got to find someone from Texas and Florida and Georgia. So then we can just really have a war.
I don't have Florida, but I got my friend Coach Alan Brownlee. He's a Georgia private coach, so he coaches a lot of the top jumpers in Georgia.
We could probably get another runner. We'll get Coach Kadivas Robinson to come in here from over at yep. So he can come over here. He was on table. Yeah, so we can have a battle of
we call the oval table. The oval table.
So once again, everybody go check out Coach Willis. If you want to find him on X, it's at Coach A Willis. You want to find him on Instagram, it's at Coach Austin Willis. Go to On the Mark. Go check out the website regardless, and go find them on IG at train.onthemark. And make sure you give him some love, because I will say that, Coach, I love your passion. I love your fire. I think that it is in very short order that we will be sitting there and going, and now our guest today is going to be a coach of Olympic gold medalist so-and-so, Coach Willis. Like, I think you have that drive and that passion, and you can see it. The only warning I will give, and Dave will second this, don't become neurotic, because a coach like you gives a shit so much, is going to put so much into it. You got to remember to have some for yourself and for everyone else.
Trust me, I got a 7-year-old that keeps me quite humble in the
There you go. Perfect. So
even though he tells me every day he's going to break the world record in triple jump, I'm like, hey, let's go for it.
Do it. Let's go. But so once again, we're Talking Novels. You can find us on the socials at Talking Novels. And there's 2 more things. Number 1, we started putting out a fun project that I did. And it is called the Big Meet XC 2025. So what I did is, using athletics.net, I got all the performance lists, and I took the top 5 from each state in cross country, boys and girls, mashed it together, made one big national meet because we don't have a real national meet. And now, granted, I'm not taking in conditions, courses, anything like that. It's just all straight performance. And mashed them together. We're releasing those every single day, mixing up boys and girls. I have already started working on the indoor version of this. So we will have an indoor state-by-state virtual championship. Because again, I hate the fact that there are no real
I think indoor will be great. I mean, XC is great, but I like the XC list because it's open for debate because we don't factor in courses and times and weather. I think indoor is going to be more like
indoor is tough though because California doesn't factor, and that's a huge thing because California you guys didn't do indoor. Like, you don't have to. It's gorgeous. You don't have to. Where Florida and kind of the southern states have taken to it a little more because of the college aspect of it. They're taking to it a little bit more, but taking California out of the equation and Texas is massive. So outdoor is going to be different, but I am working on the indoor one. And this is basically just for fun, giving shout outs to the kids that deserve it. Even if you're from a state that's not as run centric or track centric, these are all kids that coaches like Coach Willis eventually, when he's a higher level coach, is going to look and go, that kid from Alaska is amazing, but he's not getting coached. Let's bring him to mainland because I see a lot in that kid.
Oh, I mean, I'm coaching a girl in Texas right now remotely, so I'm already ahead of y'all on that.
There you go. So once again, go check that out. It's over on Instagram and Facebook, getting released, but it's the big meet, giving shine to athletes that deserve it because everyone works their ass off. And if you're at the top of your state, you deserve the shine, and we're always all about that. So,
hey, speaking of states that people don't expect about, Nebraska. There's some sliders in Nebraska.
Nebraska's good, and South Dakota for cross country is legit. I will say that for boys and girls.
And that's all I got is country. I hope they're good across country.
They got to run everywhere. What was it, McFarland, USA? Where was that from? Where they were just the kid would run to school?
California.
There you
California,
go.
Yep.
California,
one of my favorite running movies of all time.
That's a good one.
So funny thing. So I grew up in the Bay Area, but I went to school in Patterson, California, which is in Central California. Where McFarland, it's like, I mean, it's still decent. California's massive, but it's like a 2-hour drive from where I went to high school.
That's close in California, okay? Because you guys are basically the whole West Coast. Like,
so people are like, oh, I'm going to LA. Where should I go? I'm like, I don't know. I'm from the Bay, bro. That's 9 hours up north.
I have no clue. That's another country to me. So once again, everyone, make sure you check us out next week. We actually have, I'm not going to give it away, but we have one of our most interesting guests coming on next week. So definitely come here, and you don't want to miss next week's at all. So once again, we appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back. So long, y'all.